Oh, wait a minute. There we go. Okay. So I'm out here walking around again. This time I'm in the used section. Oh no. Ford Escape. It's got a good price on it. I don't know, folks. Right now, the wife's in serious negotiations. I never thought I'd see the day she considered giving up her Juke, but it could happen. She's fallen in love with a Jeep Renegade. Now, I'm always a little bit weirded out when I come look at new cars, or even used ones especially. But the Carfax on it looks good, so who knows? So as you can see, I'm still wandering around here. I was just assaulted by a balloon. Yes, I was assaulted by a balloon. But, it's one of them things car dealerships do to, like, draw you in, like a kid into the candy store type of deal. I don't know. But they got some really nice looking cars out here. The one I was just looking at was a 2014 Escalade. My car's been done for a while, but now my wife's looking at this Jeep. So I've got a little whiles to go. Plus, it's a nice day for it. Let's take a look at the Escalade. Look at that. That's one of the few cars I've seen made in the last decade that still has a V8 in it. 99% of everything these days is like V6 and smaller. Well, 99% of what you're going to get these days is a four-banger. Maybe you'll get a couple percent out there still put a V6 in their car. But seeing one with a V8 in it that's not a full-size van is kind of refreshing, especially when you're pulling that much weight. Get my fat ass into that car. Today's shirt. So that's today's shirt. So what's everybody been doing out there? Oh, that's right. I'm thinking about doing a live stream tonight. There's a lot of news to go over. There's some things we found out about Series 12 I want to share with you. Don't worry, it's not any red light alarm, but there's a guy now running around in some of my Facebook groups. He's only got like 4 subscribers, and what's he doing? He's cashing in on the Hate Jody banner. And you'll notice a lot of the newer channels that are coming out, the up-and-comers, are trying to cash in on this imaginary Series 11 was all shit, brigade. And the problem was Series 11 was no better or no worse than any other series of Doctor Who that's been put out since the revival. Now, just to give you an example, even if you go back to the classic era, look at some of the episodes when Sylvester McCoy first took over. They handed him some really shit scripts, folks. Like, come on, Happiness Patrol, you'd have to pay me $1 million just to make it to that serial. But you also have to look at the fact the budget back then was nowhere near what the new series is now. Even with the production budget cuts that have been going on at the BBC after the one law passed for the TV license, where now you no longer, if you're over the age, I think, of 70, you don't have to pay for the TV license anymore. Plus, there's a lot of people have found out that you don't have to pay, I think, a TV license if you go to a streaming service on your computer or anything like that. So that's why it's kind of going by the wayside. But the thing is this. Look back at, like, say, Series 7. Sorry, I've been out here and the wind's going. My throat's getting a little dry. But look back at Series 7, when we had the quote-unquote movie poster season. They came out with all these standalone episodes that were really kind of shit. Look at Curse of the Black Rot, Journey to the Center of My Disappointment, which to me was the biggest joke episode there ever was. Oh, look, there's a bunch of rooms in the TARDIS you're never going to, oh, look, she went in the library. Big deal. But then it all turns out that if you press the big happy reset button, it all goes back to normal. Episodes like that, to me, dream episodes and episodes you can flip out of existence, especially when there was such a, big, colossal climactic moment in there when he finally confronts Clara and says, who the hell are you? Are you a trap? And then it all didn't happen because, oh, look, it's a time loop, gone. Also, one of the lamest character ideas was in there. They had these brothers who've convinced their youngest brother he's an android. It's like, what happens the first time the guy took a shit? Did you tell him he was making a download? It's like, come on. Or he's taking a whiz. What is he doing? Streaming? It's like, it does, that whole plot part right there didn't make any sense. And sometimes to me, people call me a bit nitpicky, but that's things I try to avoid even when I'm writing. And like reset buttons, MacGuffin devices, like I said, 50th anniversary special, Day of the Doctor. You had that time crystal that the Zygons magically acquired that you never found out the origin for, but it was just there. That's called a MacGuffin device. And that's what the sonic screwdriver has become a big time on as of late. And I know there's a lot of people who are going on about Jody uses the sonic screwdriver too much. And I'm like, so people were going Capaldi use the sonic screwdriver too much. Then he had the sonic shades that nobody liked, but the main reason is, and I don't know how many of you know this, the 4 of you who are watching, but the reason he did that was the new screwdriver was still in the works, and he wanted to use something that any little kid could afford. You can go to any dime store or anywhere and pick up a cheap set of little black sunglasses for your kid for like maybe a couple pounds at most. And that's one of the reasons why he wanted to do that with the sonic shades. Was this gave younger kids, kids from who couldn't afford a sonic screwdriver prop or the toy, the chance to have their own little thing with the sonic shades. That's why he did that. But yeah, I'm definitely going to have a live stream tonight, probably about 7ish if we're lucky. It depends on how things go here, because if she decides to get this car, there's not going to be a live stream tonight, because we'll probably be stuck here signing paperwork for the next couple hours if that happens. But no, it's not bad. You preferred Series 10. There was good things about Series 10. There's good things about episodes. There's bad things in general. There's always good episodes and seasons, and there are always bad episodes and seasons. It's just so many people have gone out of their way to make it Series 11 sound like it was so completely epically bad, and they don't want to touch what the underlying reason was. And that's because people don't like change. And the problem was, if you go back and look at the ratings over the Capaldi era, and this is no detriment to Peter Capaldi, I think he's one of the most fantastic actors there ever was. His charisma, his caricature of the Doctor, I love the way he performed it. But now he's decided to go, they've decided to go on a completely different tangent than they have in the last 55 years. And people don't want that. They want, it's like the quote Chris Eccleston, there is only so many more things you can do with a bunch of skinny white guys. They had to do something different. Now, a lot of people's like, why didn't you just change the race of the Doctor? It's like, come on, look at all the backlash you're getting just for changing the gender of the Doctor. And it amazes the shit out of me that this is going on still. And now you've got all these up-and-coming YouTubers who decided the quickest way to boost their channel is if they hop on the We Hate It bandwagon, because there's a group of people out there who feel disgruntled, they feel like they've been cheated, and what's the place they turn to? Social media. Meanwhile, you've got the majority of the audience, and I stress that, the majority of the audience who didn't see a goddamn thing wrong with Series 11, and that's why they're not out there, jumping up and down screaming. I'm not kidding. When you put up polls and all that, there's people who generally enjoy Jodie as the Doctor. And I know some people wanted Phoebe Waller-Bridge. I'm not going to lie to you. I was really hoping for Chris Marshall. And for you folks who are not familiar, remember he was the detective in Death in Paradise after Ben Miller left. Is it Ben or Brian Miller? I'm going off the brain noggin here. But after he left, Chris Marshall stepped in, and I think he would have made an exemplary Doctor. But that's not what he wanted. The reason why he quit Death in Paradise is because he wanted to spend more time with his wife and his family. And because he was filming literally like 6 months out of the year on the other side of the planet. And even though it would have been a little bit more convenient that, but he still would have had to spend how many months a year down in Cardiff. Whereas now I think he's doing some stage stuff and things like that where he can, be closer to home. But no matter what your preference is, Series 11 was not that frickin' bad. I've seen far, far worse. I really have. Like, Look at Battlestar Galactica when they brought it back. Sure, there were some really good epic episodes in there, but there was a lot of shit ones. The characters were great, but then they kept flip-flopping them around towards the end. 1 second they're preaching civilization, justice, and order. Next second you got Madam President there about to throw somebody out the airlock just because you don't like him. Exactly, you've got the spirit. We've been through bad seeing things before. But you see, the thing is, with Series 11, they're testing new ground. They're trying to go in directions they haven't gone before, and they're also trying to bring in some younger audience members. And you can't do that just by following the same format your predecessor did. You have to get out there, sink some test holes, find out if there's going to be oil or not. And that's exactly what they've done. Now, there's a lot of people going, I hope they change this and change that. And I'm like, why would they? Yeah, I agree with you. Yasmin was underused. I think they could have done without Ryan. You know, even though he did have his good parts, his character was mainly there as a fill-in. Plus, I was tempted to go out there and put out an episode called Ryan in the Case of the Disappearing Dyslexia, or Dyspraxia, I mean. Because you'll notice how they didn't mention his dyspraxia for how many episodes until like almost to the end of the season. It's just like it magically disappeared. It went off to a magic place where no one knew what happened to it. And then all of a sudden, boom, there it was again. Graham, of course, here's the big argument. Graham outshone the Doctor. Sometimes companions do that. There are, remember, the companion is our gateway into that world. And so it's not unusual for a companion to stand out, if not come out a little bit ahead. Look at some of the companions of the past. There were some that were really good and some that sucked ass. But that happens. Oh, well, you see, I'm out here on a car and I'm screwing around. So. It's the town and country. It looks like I got it. Almost looks like a big hearse. Or some kind of hearse. Uh-oh, there's a dimple in the door. That's going to come off the price. Oh, yeah. So, yeah, if we get out of here tonight at a reasonable time, I'd like to do a live stream with y'all at about 7-ish. It just depends on what goes on. Because if she decides she does want this Jeep, that means we're going to have to go home, get the other car, bring it in. I could see a black doctor. I could see an Asian doctor. I could, I could see anybody doing it as long as the actor's got the chops and, they're willing to do the writing. And a lot of people have been blaming Jodie Whittaker, and it's like, so her character is different. I remember when, look at all the shit that went down when Peter Capaldi first took over from Matt Smith. You had all these people going, he's so old. Oh my God, I don't like him. He's so dispassionate. He doesn't care. He's so hateful. And I'm like, that was his character. But then by the time he left, you're generally in love with him. There are a group of people out there who've been spreading a rumor, by the way, that Whittaker's leaving, and so's Chibnall. Well, the thing was, Chibnall only wrote 5 episodes. You have to remember that. So if anything felt weak in those other episodes, that wasn't his ballpark. Plus, he did bring in, he was trying to bring in new writers. Like I said, you got to get out there, sink your test wells. Sometimes you'll strike oil, sometimes you won't. But there's a lot of episodes that, even though people were berating them, are getting nominated for Hugo Awards. They're getting high praise from the majority of the audience. Like I said, I don't see anybody being left out. I don't care what size, height, depth, color, race, creed, sexual orientation, species. I don't care what you are. I think you should have a right to be the doctor if you've got the chops to do it and you think you can carry it on and do the schedule. But yeah, Pete Mateague, by the way, if a lot of people don't know this, if you've been watching the promos for the Blu-ray boxes, like there's one called Javanka Airlines for the Peter Davison Blu-ray set, Pete Mateague wrote that. Also, the latest one with the Joneses, with Katie Manning and the actor who played Clifford Jones, Pete Mateague wrote that. And yet he's getting shit, for his episodes, even though they've been doing pretty well. Well, she's back outside now, and I have to go find out what the verdict is, kids. So keep an eye on the channel tonight. If things go well, I'm going to try to have a live stream with you tonight about 7-ish. If not, I'll let you know on the Twitter and the Facebook page what's going on. So please stay tuned. Keep going on. Keep spreading the word, kids. I rely on you. I don't pay YouTube for advertisement. I'm not really good at flashy thumbnails. It's up to you, kids, to promote this channel for me. And I know there's a lot of you out there who do love it. And you're the reason why I keep doing this. So whatever you're doing out there today, please enjoy the weather if you're anywhere near me. See you on the flip side, kiddies. Good night.